welcome back to our channel. Ruth here, and in today's video I'd like to share with you 7 things successful people do. So let's get started. The first thing that successful people do is they read, or they learn, or nowadays I would say they push play. So what do I mean by that? Well, a lot of successful people actually read books, right? But nowadays, with the internet and also with the resources that are out there, there are resources such as audiobooks, there's YouTube contents for us to learn and glean from motivational speakers and from people who are experts in their industry. So successful people never actually stop learning. Now, I remember when I was 17 years old, I completed my secondary school studies, and I even sat for a government exam. I did fairly well. I came top 5 in the whole state. But after that, I thought to myself, you know what? I don't want to go back to school again. But little did I know, in about a month's time, I actually had to go back to school because I decided to study law. So that was another 6 years in law school because I did English law and Australian law. And until today, I've been a lawyer for about 13 years now. Never stop learning, right? I feel like I still don't know a lot of things. I'm learning every single day. So even like doctors or nurses or lawyers, you know, we call ourselves legal practitioners. And here in Australia, our doctors are called general practitioners. So we're all still practicing. That means we all must keep learning. So successful people never stop learning. So my recommendation is that if you want to be successful, keep learning, whether it's through reading books, articles, or even audiobooks nowadays. You know, if you're cooking, if you're getting ready to go to work, commuting to go to work, don't waste time. Instead of listening to the radio, perhaps you can, you know, put on a podcast, something that is going to help you sharpen your skill in your area. For example, in terms of my legal career at the moment, I'm a partner in a law firm and I deal with different cases. But I feel like for me to actually really be good in what I do, I need to keep learning. So I buy courses, I listen to different podcasts, I read, even though I don't want to. I don't feel like it, but it actually makes me a better lawyer and to be better in what I do. So that's my encouragement to you. Definitely push play, read, and keep learning. The second thing that successful people do is a lot of them exercise, and that's based on statistics and interviews of successful people. A lot of them say, well, we exercise because if we keep the body strong, we keep the mind strong. And I believe that there is a correlation, a direct correlation between your body and also your mind, because your mind can only be as sharp as your body. Now, it doesn't mean that if you're not fit, you can't have a sharp mind, but there is a correlation. And I know this because before I became an entrepreneur, because at the moment I'm running a couple of businesses, you know, I'm a partner in a law firm. But before that, I used to be a personal trainer and I used to teach at the gym. And so they tell us that your physical body has actually got to do with your mind as well. And I really think that even practically, if you go for a workout and if you lift some weights and you feel like you've done the hard thing, when you get into work, when you get into pursuing your business, your career, your dreams and your visions, you feel like because you've done something more difficult right at the gym, and you actually feel like you can actually do take on the world pretty much. So it's like nothing can stop you, right? So once you've done the harder thing, then everything else becomes a little bit easier. So again, exercise if you find time. Now, I know not everyone has got the time. Perhaps you are a working mom or dad. Perhaps you've got a full-time job trying to start a business and you've got, you know, 3 kids to look after. So where do you find time to exercise? Well, sometimes it could just be something really simple. For example, at work, instead of sitting down, if you've got a full-time desk job all day, instead of sitting down, perhaps you could stand up and have like a working standing desk. Or perhaps in your break time, you could go for a walk in the afternoon. So instead of catching up for lunch with your friends and your colleagues for half an hour, maybe eat at your desk for like 5 minutes and then go out for a walk. Bring your sneakers to work and walk for 20 minutes a day. So that's going to help. So I hope you find some time to exercise, because that has a direct correlation between your pursuit to success. Number 3, the third thing that successful people do is they eat well. They look after themselves. So according to statistics, most successful people actually look after themselves. And that makes sense because, again, your mind and your body is only as sharp as your mind is only as sharp as your body. And so I believe it's important to feel your body. It doesn't mean that you can't actually have any treats or sweets. Back then, when I was a personal trainer, I used to provide food coaching advice to my clients. And I used to say to them, well, perhaps you can, majority out of the time, if you can eat healthy, vegetables and meat, etc., and cut off sugar, maybe on a Sunday night you can have like a cheat day. You can have your bowl of ice cream. So as long as it's doable, you're not suffering, you can always reward yourself. But whatever you do, try your best most times to actually eat well, because successful people, they look after themselves. The fourth thing that successful people do is they plan. Now, have you heard of the saying? You probably have heard of the saying, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? So I think there is actually, it's very true with that, because I'm naturally a planner. I plan everything. And I think it's important, because for me, if I don't plan something into my day, it doesn't get done. But if I plan something in that day and I commit to it, I get it done, and I feel empowered to move on to the next task. So in terms of planning, it's really up to you as to how you choose to plan your day or your week. Now, Craig Ballantyne actually talks about, he wrote a book about the perfect day, like a perfect day formula, but later on he wrote a revised version called the perfect week. So if you haven't checked it out yet, I would definitely get you to review some of his contents. He's got some free YouTube videos. And he's going to give you some really good tips as to how to plan. So he talks about the most important tasks. If you're looking at your week, what's the one thing that you need to do that's going to affect your life? Not just, in the next 6 months, but in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years. What's the one thing that's the most important that's going to help change your life? So for example, if you're currently working an 8-to-5 job, and you would like to actually achieve financial freedom, and you want to, let's say, work from home and stay home with the kids. Perhaps your dream is to start an online store, and you want that to actually replace your 8-to-5 job income, so you can work from home and spend time with your kids, etc. Now, if that is your long-term goal, then that is your most important task. That is non-negotiable. So fit that in your week somewhere. Commit 2 hours a week or 5 hours a week, however long you can, to actually make it happen. Okay, so plan. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. The fifth thing that successful people do is that they set goals and they follow through. So again, that's really important. Setting SMART goals. I actually made a couple of different videos talking about SMART goals, what it stands for, how to do it, so you can check them out. But setting goals is so important. So what I do personally is that every year, I actually look at the year and I go, well, what do I want to achieve by the 31st of December? What do I want to see by the 31st of December, right? Whether it's for the businesses that I run, or it's for a hobby, or whatever it might be. So I look at that and then I plan backward. So from there I go, well, okay, the first 6 months I'm going to focus on doing A, B, C. The next 6 months I'm going to focus on doing the others. And then I narrow it down. I even plan each month as to what I focus on, and each week. And in that week itself, I actually put in my MIT, which is my most important task, and I say, well, I'm going to actually do it on this date. I lock it in and I commit to it. Now, obviously, there might be times where, if there's a family emergency and you couldn't do it, or you know, if you fell ill, then that's okay. But as much as possible, if you don't plan, if you don't fit it in, if you don't set goals, it will never get done. So it's so important that you set goals, because that's what successful people do. The next thing that successful people do is they're actually flexible. What do I mean by that? Well, they review their goals and their plans, right? But they're flexible enough to actually change things. If they have to change a certain direction, if they have to change a certain way they do things. So they're flexible to review. They look at what works and they look at what doesn't work, and then they come up with a solution so that the process can become better. And this is actually employed by most companies. If they're doing a marketing campaign, for example, they do like interest targeting, and they go, well, I would like to target this demographic, you know, between this age. And they feel like, oh, wait a minute, that's a waste of time and money, because these people that we're targeting here are not actually buying from us, whereas these other people are the ones who are buying from us. So then they will allocate and transfer their resources to boost the marketing in the areas that will actually help boost their sales. So be flexible. Don't be afraid to review your goals and plans. Don't be afraid to actually adjust and change them, but keep your dream. Finally, the seventh thing is successful people have a vision board, and they review their vision board. Now, there was this one time when I was just hanging out with my husband, and he was showing me this video on the sale of this beautiful home in where we live here in Australia. It's not a cheap home. It's a multi-million-dollar home. It's just really, really beautiful. And we were, you know, talking amongst ourselves, thinking, wow, we wonder why the owner sold the house, you know, where are they moving to, etc. And as we were looking through the pictures on the real estate website, we saw this massive vision board in his office, and he put $80 million, you know, as his vision board. And you know what? We actually did a research and found that he sold his business for $80 million. And that's probably why he chose to sell and probably move to another location, right? So there is something special about vision board. I always say that I don't think there is a superpower or specific power when you build a vision board, but I believe that it helps us to focus and helps us to be a go-getter and actually pursue our dreams. In another video, I shared about how my life completely changed after I made myself a vision board. And I'll just touch on that briefly here, but you can check out my videos on how to make a vision board, how to make an effective vision board, how to divide them into different sections, etc. But what happened was many years ago, I was living a very frustrated life. I was working as a lawyer, doing an 8-to-5 job. I was teaching at the gym as a personal trainer. I was a music teacher. I was producing music albums because that's my passion. I even had some songs that won awards, etc. So I was doing many things, but there was one thing that was missing. I felt really, I don't know, it was just empty on the inside. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to be controlled. I want flexibility in my life. So then I read this book by Terry Savelle Foy called Dream It, Pin It, Live It. It is the best book I have read, completely changed my life. I built a vision board, and then I wrote my list of goals. And in the same year, I wrote 3 books. In the same year, I built a fitness website. In the same year, I built a fitness course. And you know what? In the same year, I made partner in the law firm, and it gave me a lot of flexibility, and also even my income began to increase that particular year. My life was completely changed from there, and from then on I started to go into various businesses, coaching, etc. So I want to encourage you, if you haven't got a vision board, definitely consider building one. And there's a lot of resources out there on how to build a vision board, so go for it. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Last but not least, would you be so kind to hit the like and subscribe button so that we can keep you motivated, but at the same time, you know what, it's going to mean the world to me. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.